Leadership is not just one quality, but a blend of many qualities. And while no one individual possesses all the necessary or needed talents to go into leadership, each man and woman can develop a combination to make them a leader. Vince Lombardi spoke these words in front of a group of young men preparing to walk on the field to play football in one of their best games of the season. Now you and I embody this quote about leadership. As you could tell, there's a collection of leadership styles that each and every one of us embodies throughout our journey throughout life. What I'm going to do is tell you about 3 that really resonate with me, and you'll see how each one of them actually comes into play throughout everything I do in life. These prominent styles are coaching, altruistic, and democratic. Now, as you're very familiar Toastmasters, you know what each and every one of these already is. The first one is coaching. This is the ability to share information and experience that you may possess onto someone else who's looking to improve their skills, their productivity, or maybe even their job function. If I think back of all the times that I was a coach in life, I can't count them on 10 fingers. Maybe on 10 toes if I really tried, but that might be kind of tough. So first off, I look back when I was a director of customer support. I led a team of about 40. Almost every single week, I was coaching someone. I was providing them tips and tricks and techniques of how they could improve on whatever it was that they were doing. It didn't matter if it was soft skills, technical skills, or even just personal conflict resolution, so they could really treat each other, meaning the people on their teams, a lot better in doing what they did. And those are just some of the examples. There's a laundry list of coaching abilities. Next is altruistic. So what this refers to is doing better for the good of the group. And this is something I definitely embody, I think, today, especially in Toastmasters. I really look forward to presenting the best environment and best skills for everybody. It's not just about me, but it's really about providing value to each and every one of you or any of the Toastmaster groups that I go to. And this really showed strong within my leadership style assessment. Now let me give you an example of this. When I first came into Toastmasters, I didn't know anybody. I didn't really know how to articulate my words, but every day I showed up, I tried to volunteer and provide consistent feedback to everybody else. Over time, I became a trusted advisor where people looked for me to actually offer something or feedback. But as you could tell, I don't really know everything. Sometimes I'm just grabbing for things out of thin air. But deep in my heart, I really want to provide the best service to everybody around me, because together we could make a winning club and a winning team. Lastly is democratic style. So as you're familiar, we live in a democratic republic. Some may say it could be something different depending on the politics of today. But what this refers to is really getting consensus on the direction that we want to move towards. And we've done this successfully in our club. If we want to hold an open house, we go through and we ask questions. We see where everybody is at. We get everybody's input. And then majority wins or majority rules. And this is something that I've embodied in just about everything that I've done, especially outside of Toastmaster. When I ran and led teams, I really focused on driving consensus based on the feedback of everybody else. One example of this is when we set our goals for Toastmaster. I didn't come to the stage saying, here's my top 5 things we're going to do. My first thought was to ask everybody on the team what their thoughts were. What did they want to focus on? What did they feel we were lacking in and where we needed to improve? And I took those combination of feedback, opinions, suggestions, ideas, and we formed our group goals together. And that's really part of the democratic style. And that's where I think that we as a team and as a club really succeed, is by taking everyone's idea equally and then putting forth the best ideas where we think it's going to get the best benefit to our club and others. Like Vince Lombardi said, there's just not one quality of leadership, but it's a collection of them. I like to think of us as chameleons of leadership. We're going to ebb and flow between each of those that I described earlier, depending on the situation, what's at stake, what experience we have, and how we feel about improving the quality of the meeting, the team, a project, or life in general. And so what I encourage you to do today is look up your leadership style. Figure out which ones are the most weighted or the most important to you that you exhibit. And then try to go back and forth, because as you realize, there's a dichotomy in leadership where one of those styles is not going to work the best, but a collection of many will work better for you. Mr. Toastmaster.
Stephen, thank you so much for giving us such an informative speech to let us understand what is a leadership style, as well as knowing that everyone can be the leader. The first, when I was listening to your speech, the first one caught my eye immediately was how clear you structure your speech and always use the consistent way to deliver all single point of your leadership style. You firstly talk about, you would like to talk about 3 things, and for each point, you firstly recap what was the leadership, and then give us the definition along with a story to support this leadership style you would like to talk about, as well as adding enough pausing to your speech, in between your speech. You made the structure crystal clear. That was the first thing I liked so much. The second thing I liked so much about your speech was your hand structures. Even though you were sitting, not standing, but because of the camera setup, we always can see the hand movement on your both hands. You are using a feasible amount of hand gesture and body language to support your speech, but not overwhelming or distracting our audience. That was another thing I like so much. And perhaps one thing I would like you to talk more about during your speech was how was the relationship between the free leadership and the title chameleons, because in my opinion, the major characteristic of chameleon is adaptive. Chameleon can always adapt and use the best practice to choose the color works best in that environment. Of course, you deliver 3 different leadership style of you and support how you're using them. But we would like to know more about how you wisely choose each leadership style in different situations. One, for instance, when the coaching is not working or is not the best practice, how do we switch from coaching to democratic to make you a better leader? So if you can have support this content to let us to know how you wisely choose different leadership style, and everyone should be able to combine different leadership style together to make you a better leader. That will make your speech even more meaningful and insightful for us. In summation, you had a great policy organizations, you provide adequate number of body language, and perhaps you should want to tailor your speech and have a tighter connection between your title and your content that will make your speech even greater. Overall, I really enjoy your speech. Back to you, General Evaluator. General Toastmaster.